Hey guys, welcome to Religious In-Depth Study of Islam. This particular video will focus on the significant practice of the Hajj. Firstly, it is essential that we understand what the syllabus requires you to do. Okay, there are three outcomes allocated to significant practice of the Hajj. The first one requires you to describe one significant practice in Islam. So to describe the Hajj. Okay, now describe, remember, refers to providing characteristics and features of. Okay, so essentially this means that you are providing the characteristic and features of the Hajj as the fifth pillar of Islam. Okay, recognizing that each of these pillars attempts to guide behavior of a Muslim adherent. Okay, and overall the Hajj is a pilgrimage to Mecca. The second syllabus document requires you to demonstrate how this practice expresses the beliefs of Islam. Okay, now demonstrate means to show by example. Alright, when we pick up the keyword of expresses, we're looking at conveys in words or by gestures and conduct. Okay, so how does the Hajj convey the different beliefs of Islam? Now remember that the beliefs are not the five pillars of faith, they are a ritual. The beliefs refer to a belief in one God or Tawhid, belief in the Quran or books of Allah, belief in angels, belief in prophets, belief in the afterlife. Okay, so there are five key beliefs that you must remember in order to acknowledge how these are expressed through participating in the Hajj. Now, the third outcome requires you to analyse the significance of this practice, so the Hajj, for both the individual and the Muslim community. Okay, now the analyse is a higher order thinking, okay, because it requires you to identify components and the relationship between them. Okay, so what is the significance of the Hajj? Firstly, on the individual, so the person who is actually making the pilgrimage, but then also what is the relationship or impact of the Hajj on the Muslim community? Okay, so the other Muslim believers who may or may not be making the pilgrimage, okay, so the supporters of the other individuals or just the people of the Muslim community. Okay, so these are the three outcomes that you must be able to achieve by the end of your study. The Hajj means pilgrimage, and it refers to travelling to the holy city of Mecca. Okay, the Hajj is the fifth pillar of Islam. It's important to remember here that the five pillars attempt to mould the values, ethics and beliefs of Islamic people. Essentially, it is a guide to behaviour. It is therefore an obligation for a Muslim person to undertake the Hajj, as it is prescribed to them in the Quran, perform the visit and pilgrimage to Mecca for Allah. Now, the pilgrimage itself is a physical journey which becomes a spiritual experience as pilgrims reenact significant incidents in the lives of their prophets at the sites that are associated with them. Okay? Basically, it is a journey from a Muslim's home to the Kaaba in Mecca. All right. The Hajj needs to be completed at least once in a lifetime if the adherent is physically and financially able to do it. Not all Muslims are able to undertake the pilgrimage themselves. This may be due to poor health, lack of financial means, or an unexpected or unavoidable circumstance. Okay, in these cases, Muslims believe that the intention will suffice. Okay, the intention is known as niyyah. Okay, and it's an important element. Okay, because Muslims believe that Allah judges them on their intentions, providing that their efforts are sincere. Okay, therefore, someone who is genuinely unable to perform the Hajj need not feel that they are failing their religious duty. Okay, this said though, in terms of the Hajj, it is a central duty to Muslim people. Okay. Its origins date back to the time of Prophet Muhammad, and it is all about a faithful submission to the will of Allah, remembering that submission to Allah and His will is the ultimate goal of Islam. Okay, key quote that you could refer to here is, "And pilgrimage to the house is incumbent upon men for the sake of Allah." Okay, so it is necessary that they complete this. Right, is one of the five pillars. It needs to be completed if a person is obviously able to do it. Okay, Now, in a way, the Hajj is a greater version of Salat, or prayer. Okay, it is considered to be a favourable deed for Muslims for the Day of Judgment. Okay, so remember that Muslims believe that they'll be rewarded in their afterlife for the life that they have lived on earth. Okay, this is evident in the quote, "The reward for an accepted Hajj is nothing less than paradise." Okay, so they will be rewarded. The Hajj applies to both variants of Sunni and Shiite Muslims. There are 7 stages of the Hajj. The first stage requires an adherent, before entering Mecca, they are to cleanse and wear Ihram clothing. Okay? This eliminates obvious differences between people, expressing the belief that all people are equal in the eyes of God. Okay? Also, they are attempting to attain a state of Ihram, which is purity. Okay? They do this by refraining from sex, violence, etc. Okay? They enter the mosque and recite the prayer, "O Allah, forgive me my sins and open me to the doors of your mercy." This reflects the Islamic belief that all people are equal in the eyes of God. The second stage refers to the circling of the Kaaba, right, which is the house of God and a sacred building. This reflects the belief of the oneness and unity of Allah, and that He is central to their lives. They chant, "Here I am, God. Here I am, O God, at thy command." Okay? And this reflects the oneness of Allah and the unity of Allah and the fact that He is central to their lives. The third stage of the Hajj, Sa'i, requires an adherent to walk quickly between the mounts of Safa and Marwa, recalling the looking for water by Hagar and his son Ishmael. They drink from the well of Zamzam, which is the water revealed by the angel Gabriel. This reflects the Islamic belief of angels and how they guide Muslims throughout their lives. The fourth stage refers to the Mount Arafat. They glorify God through prayer and meditation. They stand before Allah, ask for forgiveness of sins, and in doing so, recall the forgiveness of sins by Adam and Eve. The Islamic belief of forgiveness of sins is reflected here, where they can move on with life in a fresh start. Stage 5 refers to the stoning of the devil, or Jamarat. During this stage, adherents throw pebbles at stone pillars that represent the devil Satan, with the purpose to drive him away from tempting Abraham. This is reflective of Islamic belief as Muslims must submit to Allah's will, obey His commands, and not be tempted by others to reject His will. The ritual signifies the casting away of evil and rejecting sin, which reflects the belief within Islam of the different tiers of life, the present life and the afterlife, heaven or hell. Also, the importance of submitting to Allah's will and not be tempted by others to reject His will. Stage 6 refers to the festival of sacrifice. It is essentially the slaughtering of a sheep, recalling the event when Abraham was to sacrifice his son, but instead sacrificed a sheep in place of his son. This is a reminder to Islamic people of the importance of submitting to the will of Allah. The seventh and final step of the Hajj is a return to Mecca for a farewell prayer service, during which adherents circle the Kaaba again. This helps remind believers of their Islamic belief of unity and oneness of God. It is extremely important that you are aware of the principal beliefs of Islam and how they are expressed through the 5 pillars, most notably the Hajj. Okay, the first belief is a belief in one God. Okay, the Hajj expresses this belief because it is a symbol of submission to Allah. Right, Muslim feels a close connection to Allah and are able to express their belief in one God. In reference to the second belief, which refers to a belief in the Quran or books of Allah, the Muslims are expressing the belief in the Quran as the Hajj is commanded in the text of the Quran, and pilgrimage to the house is a duty unto God for mankind, for him who can find the way thither. A belief in angels and in the house of God, which is Mecca or the Kaaba, as a heavenly throne, is recognised or expressed through the Hajj. In particular, during stage 3 of the Hajj, where an adherent drinks water from the well of Zamzam, which is the water revealed by the angel Gabriel. Okay, it is during this stage where a belief in angels is particularly dominant. Okay, the belief of prophets is also expressed in the Hajj. Okay, the reason for this is because adherents are showing their belief and respect in Muhammad by following in his footsteps. Okay, just as he travelled from Mecca to Medina, the Hajj was one of the last acts of worship performed by Muhammad before his death. Also, the belief in the afterlife is expressed in the Hajj, in that a pilgrim believes that by participating in the Hajj, there'll be a greater reward in the afterlife. What would be important for you to focus at this point is to take some time to reflect on how these 5 principal beliefs are particularly evident within the different stages of the Hajj. This will allow you to provide evidence to how the beliefs are expressed within the Hajj if you receive a question on it. The remaining 4 pillars are also evident within the Hajj. Firstly, the first pillar, Shahada, which refers to a declaration of faith. It outlines that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. The first pillar is expressed through the Talbiyah, which is a prayer that states the pilgrimage or the purpose of the pilgrimage is only for the glory of Allah. It is also expressed during the stage at Mount Arafat, because this was the place of Muhammad's last sermon where all become closest to Allah. The second pillar, Salat, is also expressed. This refers to 5 daily prayers. Okay, to pray is an obligation for every Muslim. In doing so, they are in direct communication with Allah. It also advises them to avoid attachment to material items and pray in the direction of the Kaaba. This is expressed through the Hajj in the fact that pilgrims are directly communicating with Allah. Muslims are also in close proximity to the Kaaba, and Ihram is symbolic of renouncing worldly concerns and dedication to Allah. The third pillar, Zakat, which refers to almsgiving, is the annual compulsory welfare contribution, okay, an act of devotional duty to gain Allah's favour. All wealth belongs to Allah. Muslims are simply the trustees. This idea of almsgiving is expressed through the Hajj. Firstly, the meat sacrificed or money given for Nah is distributed amongst family, friends and the poor. This also shows obligation of the wealthy to the poor, that they must look out for one another and take care of each other. The Ihram means that money and status are no longer a factor for pilgrims because all are considered equal in the eyes of Allah. The fourth pillar, Sawn, it refers to fasting. From dawn to sunset during Ramadan. It enhances the belief that more time should be spent in prayer and meditation, as well as being a time for moderation, forgiveness and concern for the welfare of others. It is expressed during the Hajj because it is a time of prayer, meditation and asking for forgiveness. Forbidden acts of Ihram are to be avoided. And during the Sa'i stage, pilgrims reenact Hagar's search for food, and this demonstrates an empathy for hunger. So what is the meaning or reasons for the Hajj? Firstly, you could begin by looking at the quote, "Return like a newborn baby." The Hajj consists of several ceremonies aimed at reinforcing the main concepts that define the Islamic faith, and commemorates the trials of Prophet Abraham and his family, which aims to unite all Muslims. It is considered as a renewing and perfecting of one's faith and true surrender to Allah. The pilgrimage provides an opportunity for the individual to seek forgiveness of their sins. It is a process of spiritual self-development as one abandons one home and comfort. The Hajj is an opportunity for Muslims to experience spiritual rebirth and develop a sense of consciousness in Allah. It is also an opportunity to reassess and confirm their Islamic beliefs. The Hajj allows for a total disconnection from all worldly affairs and pleasure and total connection with the Creator. It teaches complete submission to the divine will through the enactment of the rites without questioning God's commandment. The Hajj puts Islamic beliefs into action, an act of obedience and total surrender to Allah, a religious practice to gain closeness to Allah, an opportunity to ask for forgiveness of one's sins and will return as a newly born baby of all sins. A reminder of the blessing of Allah on the Ummah for worshipping one God. The sharing of the sacrificial meat demonstrates the concern for the poor and demonstrates Islamic virtue of charity. The Hajj is a sign of unity and a sense of pride in the global Muslim community as they pray together, dress alike in ihram, and use the same language. It brings together Muslims of all races and tongues to form a brotherhood, fellowship for one of life's most moving spiritual experiences. The Hajj reinforces Allah's mercy and compassion as it exceeds his anger by forgiving the sins of the sinful creation by declaring an absolute pardon for every pilgrim upon completion of the accepted rituals of the Hajj. Every pilgrim aspires to achieve what is called a Hajj Mabrur, accepted. The Hajj acts as a universal reminder of the blessing of Allah on humanity, of our diversity and the brotherhood to worship one Allah. In terms of analysing the significance of the Hajj to the individual, you can begin by looking at the quote, Allah has full knowledge of the secrets of your heart and is fully aware of all that you do. This makes their belief in the faith stronger. They gain more experience and understanding of their religion. They gain peace and try to recreate peace in their daily lives. Pilgrims learn of equality, discipline, self-sacrifice, new status or social rank is gained. The Hajj for males and Hajjah for females. The Hajj is an opportunity for Muslims to experience spiritual rebirth and, as mentioned before, develop a sense of consciousness in Allah. It is also an opportunity for them to reassess and confirm their Islamic beliefs. It focuses the individual on jihad, which refers to the inner struggle, sacrificing time, skills, money, and struggling against external evils. This enables pilgrims' renewal through the cleansing of sin. And you could refer to the quote, whoever performs the Hajj will come home like a newborn. The Hajj reinforces Allah's mercy and compassion, as it exceeds his anger by forgiving the sins of the sinful, by declaring an absolute pardon for every pilgrim upon completion of the accepted rituals of the Hajj. The individual strengthens their relationship with Allah and gains a greater understanding of Islamic history and has a better prospect of reward in the afterlife. They have the connection with their God through constant prayer and reflection. It is also a reflection for the individual, reminding them of the equality of all people before God, regardless of race, gender, and wealth. Thus, for the pilgrim undertaking the Hajj, there is a profound and overwhelming sense of the diversity of Islam, yet at the same time an experience of the unity of the Muslim world, converging on the holy city of Mecca for the Hajj. In Islam, there is no distinction between people and no place for racism or prejudice. In undertaking the Hajj, the Muslim pilgrim experiences these elements of Islam in a profound and powerful way. It is also essential that you are able to analyse the significance of the Hajj to the community. Okay? And it can be explored in the following ways. Unity and universality of Islam is highlighted and strengthened. The worldwide Islamic community is brought together. Therefore, a sense of community is gained through them all performing the rituals as they achieve common goals. It is also the largest annual peace gathering in the world. It allows pilgrims to learn more about life and others and the world, and it reminds them of the day of judgment when they will be judged on their intentions. Through the Hajj, the ihram allows the individual and the Muslim community to express themselves as equal human beings, regardless of race or cultural background, as their robes are the same. The Hajj is a sign of unity, equality, and a sense of pride in the global Ummah, or Muslim community, as they pray together and are equal in the ihram garments. It brings together Muslims of all races to form a fellowship for such a significant practice of the Islamic faith. Through performing the rituals, a common goal is achieved, and this promotes and preserves the unity of Ummah. The Hajj acts as a universal reminder of the blessing of Allah on humanity, of our diversity and the brotherhood to worship one Allah. The Hajj is an expression of submission to Allah, and when undertaken on such a large scale with such widespread attention, it provides an important witness to the essence of Islam and makes a public statement to the submission of Allah. The Muslim community is found in the way that it inspires others. While the Hajj is essentially undertaken by individuals, it involves a community in many ways. The community is involved with the preparation of the pilgrims before they leave, in supporting family members of the pilgrim while they are undertaking the Hajj, and often in having special times of prayer and, of course, during the festival of sacrifice. The element of community building that takes place in association with the Hajj is evident in the fact that it happens at both an international level, in and through contact with others during the Hajj, and also at a local level through the involvement of the local Muslim community with the pilgrims who are undertaking the Hajj. The witness to the international and interracial harmony which is integral to the Hajj also impacts the Muslim community. Muslims gather from all corners of the world to undertake the Hajj, and in their coming together they provide a powerful witness to both the unity and diversity of the Muslim community throughout the world. The witness to the diversity of Islam is in the way in which all races and nationalities can come together with tolerance and respect in a display of racial harmony. In Islam, there is no place for discrimination on the basis of race, and the Hajj provides a powerful witness to this fundamental element of Islam. Okay guys, that wraps up our in-depth study of Islam in relation to the significant practice of the Hajj. Okay, I hope it was helpful. Be mindful of the syllabus outcomes in terms of what you're expected to do. In order to revise the significant practice, I would complete paragraphs on those dot points in order to make connections between the information that has just been presented to you. Good luck.